Hello guys, I'm back and I'm glad to be back after this little break I had. And today I'm going to do an episode on how, in a sense, school is kind of setting us up for unrealistic expectation of the world and kind of setting us up to fail, especially when we are dyslexic, especially when we struggle in school. I'm looking forward to talking to you about that. But also, guys, I'm setting up this chats with Theo, about how you can improve your reading. Because, as many of you know, I'm speaking about this and I'm going to continue to speak about this. It's been so life-changing. I have severe dyslexia, all my schooling in a dyslexic school. Left school, worked really hard on my English, improved it dramatically. But yeah, I still could only read at a very, very low level. Read for only like 5 pages, 20 minutes at a time at a painfully slow pace. And then I went through this unbelievable method, unbelievable technique, even though where everything else failed, all the dyslexic programs, when I say failed, they only improved it like little bits. But this thing, like the next day I woke up, I read for an hour straight. Within a month, I read my first book ever. And 4 months after that, I read like 4 books, gave it to a lot of my friends. They had some massive transformations. And I really want to share this message out to as many people as possible and talking about it to people. So anyway, guys, I sort of set up slots and times that I can be free and available. If you click the link on this description, I haven't set up a really good domain yet or a website yet, but I set up links to have a little conversation with me because I want to see if I can help you out, or if a child or a friend that you have who has dyslexia wants to dramatically transform their reading. This method, I have not seen it fail compared to all the other stuff out there. It only takes 2.5 hours, not like this big, long, drawn-out thing. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about this, but I hope you enjoy today's episode. I'll see you all again on the episode. So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be, or in other words, conquer their dyslexia? That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast. Hello guys, now I want to apologise for the bad intro. I'm still a bit rusty doing those. So today we're going to talk about how exactly is school setting us up to fail in life in general, and sort of like what kind of beliefs or what sort of like unconscious beliefs that they're installing in us. And now, because I remember going through school, especially in the young year, in the very, very early years, where so many of us dyslexics struggle. And it's the early years when we're just building on the foundation of our learning. When you mean nursery, year 1, year 2, where we're kind of learning all these things new. And now, as dyslexics, we find that incredibly hard, because one thing that I talked about here is that as dyslexics, we want to build on a foundation is so much more easier than creating a foundation, because oftentimes we find it so much more hard to learn facts, to learn figures, to learn numbers, because our brain works like it's not like a storage house, it's like a story metaphor. We like to combine things, we like to see things from a big picture perspective. Now, where this really comes in struggle with when they try to learn, makes us learn sounds, makes us learn phonics. It's like, okay, there's this shape, and this shape makes a sound. Why does it make a sound? We don't know. It just makes a sound. And you just have to learn it and memorize it. And this other shape makes this other sound. And there's 26 shapes in the English alphabet, but yet there's 44 sounds, because when you combine a couple shapes together, they make a new sound. And on top of that, there's these new rules and these new things. You're supposed to learn all of this, learn how all these shapes come together and make all these different sounds, and these different sounds make a word, and the word has a meaning. And you don't just have to be able to read that, you have to be able to write all this stuff down. And learning all this from scratch is very, very, very hard, very complex for us as dyslexics. And I remember being in year one and being in reception even younger and looking around thinking, wow, everyone else is getting it. They're so smart because this stuff's really hard. And of course, it wasn't really hard. I just couldn't do it. It was hard for me. And then I realised I'm the odd one out. It's not that everyone else is smart. Everyone else is normal. They're just understanding it. I'm not understanding this. And especially seeing seeing the environment, saying, well done. You're doing a really good job. You're so smart. When we see other people are getting it, other people are learning, we can see this and it makes sense in ourselves to think, I will be no good at this. I'll be no good at reading. And then it kind of sets us up. Because we're always taught that, okay, when we're in reception, setting up for year one, you've got to act like year one kids. You've got to be sensible. You've got to learn, your alphabet. You've got to learn these things. And in year one, they'll say, we've got to set you up for year two. And so you've got to be good in year two. And you've got to learn these things, learn your sounds, learn your words for year two. You've got to read a sentence. For year three, you've got to do more and more and more. And kind of like each year builds upon the next, especially when you get older. When you're in year 5, you can be a year 6 student. You're going to move up to secondary school. When you're in 6, oh my God, this is your last year. Then you move into year 7, which is in the UK, you'll move into secondary school, which is like year 7 is the lowest, to up to year 11, which is the highest. And in year 7, you've got to act in a certain way for year 8. And it helps build you up until when you're in like year 11, you've got to be a lot more independent, a lot more like basically by yourself. And then when you're moving on to kind of like going to college, university, or sixth form, whatever, you've got to take this new self with you. Now, what this subconsciously tells us that the next stage in life, that this stage in life is getting us ready for the next stage in life. And if we're doing bad at this stage, we'll do bad at the next stage. And yet, once we're leaving education, going into the actual real world, we think education is taught, and we've been told that education is setting us up for the real world. Now, if any of people listening here who are in the real world, not in currently education, they would laugh at that and thinking school never sets you up for the real world. But if you're failing in school, guess what that's going to make you think about the real world? It makes you think you'll fail in the real world. It sets us up to believe if you can't learn, if you can't read, if you can't write, don't have good handwriting, you won't be able to get a job. You won't be able to do these things in the real world. And this is the furthest thing from the truth, because the weaknesses that dyslexics have at retaining certain information, retaining facts, like remembering order, remembering time, reading, writing, all that stuff. That's so heavily demanded on school. And the strengths dyslexics have of creativity, of thinking about outside the box, of creating solutions to the problems, on big picture thinking, on finding your own path of innovation, and all these clever things. They are very, very, very hard to use when you're in school, because when you're in school, you go there at a certain time, you sit at a certain desk, and you learn what you're supposed to learn. Dyslexics aren't like that. We don't think like that. We don't learn like this. Way much more creative, open environment that we're learning. And so, first off, we get taught in a way that we're not designed for, and we've been shown that okay, the way you learn, the way you operate is this. And we're not designed for this, therefore we will never see our strengths, so we'll never learn how we can flourish. Now, if we're lucky when we get to university and more higher levels, there's a lot more freedom in our learning. Now, if we're lucky, we can say to ourselves, okay, and if we reach that level if we able to reach that level, got the right grades, I know that's not a path I want to go down, because I know what I want, I know what I wanted in life, and it didn't involve going around there and having a lot in debt and that kind of thing. But if you're in that path, when you're in university, going to higher levels of education, there's a lot more freedom in your learning. Now, what's perfect for that is a dyslexic person can throw away the old rule book on how you're supposed to learn and learn in the way that you're designed. And learn creatively, listen, talking to people, going outside the box, listen to so many audios, and obviously working harder than others, then hopefully we can find a way that works for us. Therefore, we'll be successful in learning in higher education. But coming back to what I say, that the main point is that what people don't tell us is that school is kind of setting us up for, if you're failing in school, you'll fail in life. And this is the furthest thing from the truth. The skills that makes you thrive in school are not the skills that make you thrive in life. Yes, of course you need to learn. Yes, of course you need to work hard. Yes, of course you need to be diligent, take notes and do all these things and show up on time, of course. But if you spend your life, like you mean in the real world, doing what you do in school, you won't get very far. If you always just show up on time, do the work you're supposed to, show up on time, sit down at your desk, wait for work to be handed to you, do that work, hand the work in when it's supposed to, and leave on time, you'll be on the average. You'll be on the average population. You won't learn the skills that you need to develop to actually get you to where you want to actually progress you in the real world. And the real world is not secure in the sense of, oh, you can be in this job for ages. Now, what's really interesting, because I'm kind of diving a bit deep, like the sort of like how the school was designed for like hundreds of years ago. I think like 100 or something, or I don't know the exact date. They're designed for factory workers, for people to go in a factory and to work for the rest of their life. Because that is, you go to school, you get education, and then you work into a big industry, a big organisation where you're there for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and then you retire with a good pension and all that stuff. That was the plan. But that world is no longer with us. You know what I mean? If people are in jobs now know that the job life expectancy for one job isn't going to be 20, 30, 40 years. So you're not going to have the same routine. Again, you have to innovate, you have to learn new skills, you have to be a lot more adaptive than the school system designed. So I don't want to bash school because there's so many important things. But what we have to learn as people that have dyslexia, if you're a parent or your child has dyslexia, you have to learn. Them failing in school does not correlate to them failing in the real world by any sense of the imagination. Now, what will make them fail in the real world is their beliefs in themselves. Is their belief saying, I can't do this, I can't learn this, or sort of like being too shy to actually ask for help so that they can get a piece of work done, so they can be efficient. Because let me tell you something, there's so many ways around problems. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be challenging, doesn't mean you can make mistakes, no. But there's so many more ways around the problems of reading, writing, time, and all this stuff. There's so many technology out there. It's only going to get better at a faster rate than it is now. Because on Word, there's things that can get you read back to it. On your phone, you can speak to it. It spells you things out. It can read out to you. Everything, like reading has become a lot less of a requirement for you to function in life. And so once you take that into account, there's even more reason why the skills you're learning in school is not going to be important. Now, am I saying that the reading and writing is important? Of course it's very important, but can you not be able to read and write and yet still function and be successful in today's life? Yes. Yes, 100%. You just got to believe in yourself, work hard enough, and find strategies around the problems. And this is what I say over and over again. So right now I'm in Thailand teaching in a school. Funny situation I'm in at the moment. But I'm still kind of teaching in a school. Not the situation that I kind of like wanted, but because of COVID, things happened. But yeah, I'm in a position now that I'm teaching people English is because I don't let my dyslexia stop me and keep on moving forward after each thing. So one thing that I really want you to get more than anything else is that do not let your dyslexia stop you. Do not. No matter what it is, do not let your dyslexia stop you or limit you in your life. Anyway, guys, I hope we enjoyed this today's episode. I really enjoyed it. I've missed this so much, talking to you guys, hearing your feedback, and really kind of like exercising this muscle. And finally, I want to end on this. I know in my little intro video, I sort of spoke about the thing I'm so passionate and excited about. Is about how you can improve your reading, or how you can get your son, daughter to improve theirs dramatically. I'm not talking about some dyslexia program that you can take for 12 weeks, and it costs a lot of money, have tutors, and it's really hard work. This strategy takes 2.5 hours. It's transformed my life. It's transformed two of my friends' lives. There's the two people who tried it. And now I'm setting up, basically, I want to chat to you about how, if this thing can help you, like the person who created Craig Collins, like I read very lengthy chats with him about it. He traveled the world, gave it to over 1,000 people. So many dramatic transformations happened there. I just want to chat with you. So I'll leave a link somewhere here. If not, email me, message me about it, and we can schedule a call. Link about somewhere here we can chat about this unbelievable thing that I truly think that will change the dyslexia industry because it's so effective. Anyway, guys, if you're interested in schedule a call with me there, and I hope we have an amazing day and see you all later. Bye, guys.